Hello YouTube, hello everybody. We've got a bit of a different lesson with Mara today. Mara was saying how they are feeling a bit ill, and instead of taking a break, we thought we'd go through some clips together of other people's voices and use it as an opportunity to train Mara's ear a bit. Yeah, how are you doing, Mara?
All right, how are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Actually, barely awake. I slept for about 3 hours last night, so I am like, ugh. So
Oh
good time
no.
for you to have decided we'll go for a nice and chill lesson of just listening to other people speak. That sounds perfect for me. Okie dokie. All right, so when we were discussing, you said you do have some things that you have reviewed already. Um, were you able to get any permissions from any of those people in terms of like sharing that on stream? No worries. If not, we'll just go and find some stuff on Reddit and places like that.
Yeah, I looked through the stuff that I feedbacked earlier, and I feel like I am fairly fine with most of them. The only one that I'm unsure about is like it's not their own voice, it's a breakdown of some uh,
Mm-hmm.
Instagram streamer or something's voice. So I thought since that's a public thing, that's probably fine.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's totally fine. I
But
think that's totally fine.
yeah,
Okay, all right.
yeah,
Well,
I think
let's go
in
for that
general,
first. Mm-hmm.
so
No, you go ahead. Sorry.
I think in general, I feel like I am slow but consistent with beginner voices because I feel like I can pick apart all the separate things fairly easily. It's
Mm-hmm.
the complex voices or like the voice breakdowns that I'm really struggling with.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, we'll do a bit of a variety today. Um, so we'll start off with your the celebrity one, the Instagram one that you found, and then like go through any others that you have, and then see where that takes us time wise. But if we could, we'll try to find something a bit harder on Reddit or just wherever, um, to see
Mhm.
if we can get some difficulty coming in. Okie dokie. All right. Well, do you have that audio clip? Um, and we'll take a look at it.
I think I did save it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay,
We'll
so
see
they
how the
sent
audio
one
does. You
of
might need to
their
send it to me. We'll see.
yeah, I think it will be easy to send it here.
Yeah. Just send it to me.
I'll send it in the chat here.
Yeah. That'd be
Yeah.
ideal.
Okay. So they send one of their mostly of their speaking voice,
Mm-hmm.
just this one, and then one more of their singing voice, which
Mm-hmm.
I have not really taken a look at,
Okay.
which is this one.
Okie dokie. All right. Should we go for the first one first then?
Sure.
Okay. Nice. All right. Just to quickly test that this works the way I think it will. Okay. You should be able to hear this. Let me know if you can.
Do I look okay? Oh,
Yes, I
I
can.
was actually
Yeah, you can hear that fine. Yeah.
Mhm.
Pretty sure Stream can as well. Let me just check that.
waiting for someone to ask that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All the audio is working exactly as intended. Wonderful. Okay. All right. Let's go through this from the beginning. And then I'll get you to give your input first, and then I'll give my input. Okay. All
Do I look okay? Oh, I was actually waiting for someone to ask that. Okay, well since Coco requested, I shall oblige to doing so.
I've just turned down the audio on that a little bit. Hopefully that comes through a little bit nicer and doesn't peak quite as much. Okay, what are you thinking? Obviously, if you need me to replay it at any point, do let me know.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, So I guess they were sort of aiming for a masculine voice.
Okay.
This, yeah, this one feels a little more androgynous to me, but I think it's not a lot of close fiction, and also not a lot of like not a very low lyrics.
Hmm.
Doesn't feel like it's not super bright, but it's
Okay.
not low either. So I guess I would say somewhere in the middle. I
Okay, let's have a little
think
replay and have a little listen to those
honestly what
specific
I'm
facts.
noticing the most is that there's a fairly high pitch ceiling, I think. Like the laugh was the laugh at the start and that I think went up like almost to it must have been V3 at least.
Okay.
And there is I don't think I'm hearing the actually sorry, can I hear that one more time?
Yeah. Also, I've just realised that the audio is going back through whenever I. Okay, yeah, I've just remembered I need to do an audio thing in between stuff. So hopefully the audio will improve for people on stream. And if you were getting an echo just now, that will fix it for future.
Do I look okay? Oh, I was actually waiting for someone to ask that. Okay, well, since Coco requested, I shall oblige to doing so.
Let me listen to that once more.
Do I look okay? Oh, I was actually waiting for someone to ask that. Okay, well, since Coco requested, I shall oblige to doing so.
Okay, yeah. Was there more you wanted to say first? Or, yeah, I'll let you go. Finish your assessment first.
I think so. When I first looked at this, I was thinking that it's kind of overfull because I was hearing a little bit of buzz,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not actually sure. I feel like, I mean, obviously this is someone streaming, so I imagine they're not talking like this all the time. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they might be doing something else for that kind of buzzy sound. I'm not really sure if it's overfull anymore. It sounds a bit different.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like they're somehow adding a little bit of compression to their voice that I can't quite place.
Okay. I'm just bringing up a notepad on screen. I'm just deciding where to put it. So we can write some of these things down. We'll try just putting it in the middle-ish. We can actually take some notes on what we're each thinking. Okay, hopefully that is not too obnoxious of a positioning for that. Oh, we'll just put it in front of a logo. That makes okay, none of it is quite a good place to put it. I should have thought about that ahead of time. Okay, so you're thinking kind of somewhere in the middle for larynx height / size, somewhere middle-ish for quotient / weight, large pitch range, large pitch range with large pitch range with sharp increases at or I guess just to emote. And let's also make this a little bit easier to read for everybody. There we go. Large pitch ranges, range with sharp increases to emote. Were you then saying something about unsureness of overfull, or was it? I feel like there's another thing I'm missing.
Yeah, I was unsure if it was overfull or if they were slightly overfull or if they were doing something else that I could not place.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Any other things you wanted to mention about before I give my go.
Uh,
I'll replay it for you if you want.
no, I think
Okay, no
I
worries.
think that's all I noticed. Maybe.
Okay, I'm gonna label these as well. What should I name this? What's the name of that person there? Can't quite see it. Patro? Patro assessment 1. Boo, 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 boo. And then Mara. Boo, 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 boo. Zara. Okie dokie. Right, I'm going to have a listen to it as well, and I'll go through my input on it.
Do I look okay? I was actually waiting for someone to ask that. Okay, well since Coco requested, I shall oblige to doing so.
Okay, so first thing is I super agree in that we have a very sort of mid-range size. I want to listen for one specific thing there.
Do I look okay? I was actually waiting for someone to ask that. Okay, well since Coco requested, I shall oblige to doing so.
Unsure of a moment on the OPC. I think I'd have to play with her voice a little bit for that. But I'm suspecting a small amount of OPC, which is kind of giving that little boost of brightness, getting us more to that sort of middle-ish, slight unsuredness area. But only it's subtle if it's even there. Boo, 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 boo. Yeah. Wait. Also, middle-ish.
Do I look okay? I was actually waiting for someone to ask that. Okay, well since Coco requested, I shall oblige to doing so. Do I look okay? I was actually waiting for someone to ask that. Okay, well since Coco.
They do have a bit more, which you don't often see in people, but there's a bit more like fluidity in their weight to my ear. Slight fluidity to weight. Like if you listen for at that very first part, we open at a very lighter weight, which checks out if we think of weight as having a slight matching of pitch. We can hear as we're going for this higher pitch, we're getting that reduction of weight to facilitate that.
Do I look okay? I was.
And then as they plummet back down to their norm, they then sort of reset to what I imagine is their more typical weight.
I was actually waiting for someone to ask that. Okay, well since Coco.
And then again, since we then have a reduction of that weight for that.
Coco requested, I shall oblige to do.
And then as it returns to base, and that weight comes back into it. So I'm thinking there is a slight fluidity to their weight, which I would hypothesize that it's coming in because they're streaming and because that is the sort of environment that they're in right now. So part of part of their emoting and part of their like trying to bring in this like increased emotional expression that you'd often bring with being an entertainer. I think they're using weight as a way to emote. So we have that lighter weight pairing with that higher pitch when we're having those like da 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 sort of moments. That's what I'm thinking there. Boo 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 boo.
Do I look okay? Oh, I was actually waiting for someone to ask that. Okay, well, since Coco requested, I shall oblige to doing so.
I'm not thinking. Um, I'm not thinking um, over full. But I see where you're going with that. To me, this voice reads as very youthful. Like this is almost like a little boy's voice. Um, and I think part of that is because we have that little bit of OPC that's sort of giving us that extra brightness that isn't typically expected as much. Like if we think of like how do we make our voice sound prepubescent? Usually it's by throwing in a bunch of OPC. Like if I take my voice right now and then I just add OPC to it, now we get that more childlike voice through that OPC. So I'm suspecting that your read of the over full element is you're hearing that the like OPC brightness in there, as well as that like kind of middleish kind of larynx position, which is bringing forth the idea of like brighter while also not bright at the same time, and that brighter with the heavier is bringing that over full vibe, which I would also suspect is why you were a bit like unsure, like is that overfull, not overfull, because it's almost like it's overfull and not overfull at the same time, if that makes sense, because depending on the lens that we're analyzing, like if we split size into larynx height and oropharyngeal closure, one of them is overfull and one of them is not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that does make sense.
Yeah. Do you, okay, now that I've laid those things out, do you hear those vocal qualities now that you're knowing what to look for?
Do I look okay? Oh, I was actually waiting for someone to ask that. Okay, well, since Coco requested, I shall oblige to doing so.
What are you thinking? Do you hear the OPC there?
No, I don't think I did. Not on that one. But
Okay, let's see.
I don't think I'd heard that.
How can I highlight it for you? Because it is only a small amount. Okay, it's producing a sound that I would describe as having similar qualities to it's like twang without the twang, if that makes sense. Like there's a slight brassy quality to this person's voice, where I guess a slight overfullness. Can you ask what OPC is? Yeah, OPC is oropharyngeal closure. It's usually one of the more advanced techniques in voice, but it's basically your how do I best describe this without pulling up all the stuff? We have your larynx, okay? We have the larynx, big box of cartilage here, and usually that's going to be our main thing for adjusting size. So we have the difference between my voice right now and my voice right now. If we wanted to go a little bit like boost that sound change in terms of going brighter, we could, above your larynx, we have the pharynx, okay? And that pharynx leads in all the different directions, one of those directions being the mouth. So there's this little arch that connects your mouth to the back of your throat, and you can kind of shrink it and narrow it, or you can expand it. So by narrowing it, you can take a voice like this over to more of a voice like this, where we have this narrower sound. It's a different, it sounds smaller, but in a different way. That's what OPC is. And yeah, so what I'm hearing in this voice is that there's a brassy quality, which is the, which I believe is the OPC paired with that extra weight. I think that's what you're hearing, Mara, as the slight overfull sound. listen for like, how would I describe it? There's almost like a squeaky quality to their voice. Let's go with that description for now. It's not quite the word I'm looking for, but we'll see how that goes. Slight squeaky quality. See if you can identify that.
Do I look okay? I was actually waiting for someone to ask that. Okay, well since Coco requested, I shall oblige to doing so.
Can you tell what I mean by the slight squeaky?
Oh,
It's the same factor as like the thing that's making it, to my ear, young boy, as opposed to man, or like adult male or whatever. Yeah.
yes. I think I heard it that time.
Okay. Good. So I think that's the thing that I'm hearing as setting it apart from. The big distinction that I think it's making is, my throat is going crazy right now. Young boy to adult male, and that being like the distinguishing, or that being like the line of a variable, like the two ends of a scale. So that's the factor that is this OPC stuff. It's not a ton, but it's something. Do you know if this person is AFAB or AMAB? Just to give us an idea of their anatomy.
No. I don't think the detail was provided.
No worries. So
And
if they are... Oh, go
yeah,
on.
they didn't mention.
Okay, so if they are
The person
AFAB...
sorry,
Sorry, no, you go on. You go first. There's a slight Discord delay, so it
The
throws us off
person who
sometimes.
asked about this is AFAB, but I'm
Okay.
not sure about the voice.
Okay. So if they are an AFAB, then this would be something that is actually reasonably commonly seen with that sort of young boy thing. So like you might typically see this with somebody that's just in the early stages of learning size adjustments, where they've dropped the larynx somewhat and they're still learning to drop it further, and you haven't yet gone to OPE stuff, or pharyngeal expansion. I tend to find with students that masculizers, depending on where their goals are, OPE or just like oropharynx stuff can be more of a factor than it typically is in feminizing stuff. Both will be doing some oropharynx stuff, but one, feminizers will normally have a slight adjustment coming in without necessarily having to induce it. Usually you'll find that size change happening just when teaching larynx height stuff. It just kind of comes with. Whereas that tends to be less the case for masculizers, in my experience. And again, masculizers are a rare breed, so nobody gets to have tons of experience with them. So that is definitely a less, more anecdotal, I suppose. There is less data that I am using there, but that's been my experience so far. So yeah, if it were AFAB, then that's kind of what I would expect along those lines. If it's a MAB, I would be expecting this to be a more intentional decision, where they've aimed for a voice more like this, because going for something more androgynous, in my opinion, is probably the hardest thing to do. It's easy to go one end of a scale because you just sort of max things out. It's easy to go to the other end of a scale because you just max things out. But trying to find somewhere in the middle there's a lot more exploration that goes into that. There's a lot more. It's like what can I use to compare? Like if I do I have a book to hand? We can use ukulele. Okay. So if I just hold my ukulele up like this, it's pretty easy. I could do this for hours and hours and hours. If I hold it down like this, it's pretty easy. You could do it for hours and hours and hours. If I'm just holding it like this, that's way harder because you're kind of balancing things in the middle. There's way more like factors at play. Does that make sense? I don't know if that made total
Yeah, that
sense,
makes sense.
but yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, that would kind of be my complete assessment of this voice. I would be very much looking towards like what are their goals. So if let's say this was sent to me, and let's say the goal was androgenization, I would be wanting like, okay, what do you think of your voice? What are you wanting to change? Where are we going with this? Because there's nothing immediately obvious here that tells me a direction that they'd be wanting to take. Yeah. That's also something, being as we're on the topic of like reviewing clips and stuff, I generally try to stick to just always having that as a first question, regardless of anything. Like, where are they at now? What have they done so far? And what are they wanting? Or even if they're like unsure of what they're wanting, if they've given you a clip, like it's always best to start with what do they not like about the clip, so that you have a better idea of like, you're not inserting your own preferences in, you're sticking to what they like. Because as I'm constantly telling people, like there is more voices than just masc, femme, androgynous. There's like types of those. There's no such thing as the androgynous voice or the feminine voice or the masculine voice. So you want it to be what they want as an androgynous voice, as opposed to like what you might want. And it just gives you guidance in terms of what they're looking for. Yeah. Okay. Any last comments on that clip? Oh, in fact,
no, I think
sorry, you were sent that as like with questions, right? What was the person that sent that to you's question? If you're able to share that, you don't have to say their name or anything. Just for question.
Yeah, I think their question was just they're not sure what they should be doing to like aim towards this voice. This is their voice goal.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay then. So yeah, in terms of like, these are the things, so it would just be, you know, whatever it is that they're lacking, it would be whatever the thing is. With those sorts of things though, I would often recommend getting them to describe what they like within the voice, because it might be that while we would describe all these elements, it might actually be that like the slight OPC thing, they don't actually care about that, it's everything else they like. But they don't have that level of articulation to know what it is. So either like ask them to describe in their own words what they like and dislike about the voice, or you can give them your analysis and make sure that your analysis is like clear and you're explaining like when we say I don't know, unsure if slightly overfull, like explain what it is you're hearing so they can then like hear it as well. So they can then make a decision of like, okay, that specific factor, how do you feel about that specific factor? Yeah, that can be really important for people. Okay, let's listen to the second clip as well. This is the same person, yeah?
Yeah, same person, but mostly singing.
Okay.
Oh, sure thing, Coco. I would love to. My room. Hope that I'll find some.
Oh, I've just realized that is not sending to you guys. Hang on. Okay.
My way. Oh, sure thing, Coco. I would love to. My room. Hope that I'll find someone to love. Because the sun's engaged to the sky and my best friends found a new guy. I'm only getting older. I never had a shoulder to cry on.
Okay, what are your thoughts on that? And disclaimer, in terms of my own expertise, singing itself is outside of what is stuff I would be knowledgeable on. So I'll only be able to give stuff about the voice itself. I can make the odd, very like basic comments on their singing. But in terms of what I can deliver to you as a teacher. My expertise is going to be on the like trans voice elements. Yeah. But by all means, if you have comments you want to make on the singing, like by all means do that.
Yeah, I don't think I would be very able to comment on the singing either.
Mhm.
Yeah, think I think I am hearing that weight fluidity you mentioned in that when they like I'm focusing on that point right at the start where they talk for a second.
Yeah.
And that feels super lightweight, and then I think if yeah,
Mhm.
I think it's sort of, yeah, it feels a lot lighter weight than they were talking previously.
Mhm.
But I don't think I really have any other new observations here. Because yeah, the singing feels a little different from their speaking voice, and I'm not sure how to break that down.
Mhm. Okay, so slightly lighter was your main comment there, with some variation. Is that right? Did I miss anything there? I felt like that was the main point you communicated there.
Yeah, that was the main point.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna have another re-listen. Boo 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 boo. Voice meter. There we go.
My way. Oh, sure thing, Coco. I would love to. My room. Hope that I'll find someone to love. Because the sun's engaged to the sky, and my best friend's found a new guy. I'm only getting older. I never had a shoulder to cry on.
Yeah. Okay. So there are two main comments I would make on this. Excuse me. One, definitely yes, lighter weight. And this can be reasonably common when singing. People just do that often. The other thing I would mention is I'm also hearing a slightly, or maybe a bit more than slightly, but not by a huge degree because we already started at a more middleish level. But I'm hearing a smaller size here, with things now sounding. Let me re-listen for 1 sec.
My way. Oh, sure thing, Coco. I would love to. My room. Hope that I'll find.
Yeah. Yeah, so smaller size, specifically larynx height, bringing it more in line, with the OPC. Yeah, so I'm now hearing that smaller size, which is quite typical of singing, especially in Western culture. There's just a cultural thing that seems to have emerged where we only a small amount, but everyone masculine, like men, women, whatever, everybody feminizes ever so slightly when they are singing, and I hear it here. We have that lighter weight, and a slightly more raised larynx, such that we're now like in a zone where, like, to me, we're starting to leave androgyny here. Just like we're on like femme leaning androgynous, I suppose. What do you think of that?
That is interesting. I don't think I would have heard that. The size part. Yeah, I don't think I heard that at all.
Okay, let's compare the two. See if you can hear it.
Do I look okay? Oh, I was actually waiting for someone to ask that. Okay, well since find someone to love because disengaged to the sky, and my best friends found a new guy. I'm only getting older. I never.
Okay, I don't know if it didn't start at the beginning of that. I was hoping to get the actual speaking bit so you can compare the two. Let me just do that comparison again.
That. Okay, well, since Coco requested. Oh, my way. Oh, sure thing, Coco. I would love to.
Do you hear it there? In fact, sure thing, Coco, compared to this other bit where they're addressing Coco. So it was the two different clips there. It's not a huge difference,
Yes.
but I do notice it.
I think so.
We'll listen to it once more.
I shall oblige to doing so. My room, hope that I'll find someone to love, because that I'll think Coco. I would love to.
Yeah, so that. Yeah, I'm just hearing a significant larynx shift there. Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Do you hear it? Like, you can clearly identify it, or is it just like you kind of see it?
I think I'm kind of hearing that. Sorry.
Mhm.
I think I'm kind of hearing that there is like a size difference in each clip, but I don't think I would have been able to identify it like specifically the way you did.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that just comes with practice, don't worry. I think you can look for. Also, sorry you had that echo there, and sorry stream had that. I will at some point remember to turn the mic thing on and off as I'm going between clips. I'm rerouting my audio into my mic for everybody hearing, but that means I have to remember to not turn that off again so you can speak. Yeah, so what I would look for is listen for lighter weight areas in both, because once we have it in a lighter weight area, then that slight shift in larynx height can move things from sounding more or less hollow, and you can kind of use that to help gauge you. I find fullness can be really useful for like listening for those subtle shifts, because if a subtle shift is happening not synchronized with its, like if it's a size shift not accompanying a weight shift, like if you're comparing equal weights, then it becomes more noticeable because they're not moving together. If they're moving together, it becomes much harder to notice. But when you have it both at that lighter weight, then it's more obvious. So instead of listening for the size shift, see if you can just listen for a slight, like, hollowness difference. Okay? I'll just find a...
Okay, well, since Coco requested.
Yeah, that bit is slightly lighter. The singing is lighter still, but hopefully it'll still do us. Okay, so I'll start with a singing one, okay? And then you're listening for the next clip, the speaking one, to have that hollow sound, okay?
Oh, sure thing, Coco. I would love to. Okay, well, since Coco requested, I should.
Do you have a
Sorry,
slight
if you're
hollowness?
it's not coming through.
Oh, shit, sorry. I will keep messing that up for the entirety of this lesson. And that's
That's
okay.
okay.
Boo-ba-da-boo-boo-boo-boo.
Okay, well,
Wait,
since.
no. I just thought, wait, hang on. Am I doing this in a sensible way? Do. Give me 1 second.
Okay, well, since.
Because I just thought stream mic getting that like super weird for clip, because I've just realized they're getting it twice, which means if I hold up. Okay, is this going to completely mess with my setup if I do this? This is probably going to mess with everything, but we can try it. Oh, I can't. No, I can't do a screen share, can I? Of course I can't, because it's a. How can I get my audio to go? It's not gonna work. Never mind. We'll just do. Okay, stream chat, because I've just considered that you might be getting things in a weird way. Just tell me, like, is this coming through super weird and fucked when I'm playing this clip? Okay, just let me know how it sounds.
Do I look okay? Oh, I was actually waiting for someone to ask that. Okay, well, since Coco requested, I shall oblige to doing so.
Yeah, stream chat. What does that sound like? Is that like kind of a bit not so great, or is it totally fine? Because basically you're getting the audio both through my mic and the desktop audio, but given that they're both in sync with one another, I don't actually know if that would mean anything or matter in the slightest. But maybe it does. Maybe it totally matters. Tiny reverb. Not bad. NVD. I think that means not bad. Okay. That's fine then. All right. We'll continue as we are then. What were we doing? Oh yeah. You were having a little listen. Okay. Oh, no big deal. That makes sense. Okay, so we're letting you have an opportunity to listen to that little bit of reverb. So on about 8 seconds on the first and basically the beginning for the second. Okay, all right, listen to both of these, Mara, and you're listening for that slight hollow sound in the second clip.
Oh, sure thing, Coco. I would love to. My room.
So that would be lacking the hollow.
Coco requested, I shall oblige to doing so.
And that would have the slight hollow. Do you hear it?
Yes, hearing them
Yeah.
next to each other,
Yeah.
I definitely heard it.
Nice. So when you're looking for elements like that, or if you're struggling to hear like a specific element of a voice, listen for, or like look for areas in the clip where you have like a contrast point. So like a lighter weight will make it really obvious when size changes happen, because you have that hollowing effect. I find it's a little harder when you have a much heavier weight because there's just much more like noise. But yeah, a lighter weight can make it a bit easier. Okay, cool. All right, I think that's all I've got on that pair of clips, unless you have any extras or anything you want to just look at.
No, I think that is all I had. Echoing again.
Nice. Okay then. All right. Do we have more clips, or do you want me to find you some?
I will. Yeah, I think I will leave it to you.
Yeah. Okay. No worries.
I don't think I have anything else saved.
No worries. No worries.
Yeah, nothing else that I can see.
Okay. I'm quickly going to check a Discord where I already have this, have made this arrangement with the server, but we might not have had anybody actually requesting anything, which we have not yet had because that was only yesterday. Okay, all right, what we're going to do then is let's just head over to r/transvoice. Okay. Boo. Transvoice Reddit. There you go. Okay, all right, I'm going to look for somebody that is specifically requesting help. We'll start. Okay, wait. We'll start with this one, because I think this is a good example of what can be a little tricky as a coach. Haven't listened to it yet. This is just based off the title alone. So, what they ask is, how does this read? Advice wanted. I'll pop that in the chat as well, so you know exactly what their question was. Yeah, how does this read? Advice wanted. So I'm going to play it, and then you can start telling me what would your response to them be. Okay? Boo. Yep. Okay. Okay, wait, is that thing broken? Oh, hang on.
A big issue is
Sorry.
that like I keep. Okay, hi. So I'm just sort of trying to get like a vibe check on my voice. Like I've been practicing on and off for like a year and sort of like more intensively in like the past 6 months, trying to sort of find like the right kind of voice and like how I want to read. A big issue is that like I keep sort of worrying like, oh, this sounds fake. This doesn't sound like conversational enough. So I've been trying to sort of work on that. I'm just sort of talking at a normal, like, I think this would be a conversation level. Like, I think I could converse with someone pretty well here. I was worried my talking or like pitch sounded sort of like announcements. Like, I was like telling people things, but I think this is a pretty good pitch, and I'm feeling a lot more confident and like comfortable with it than ever. So yeah, I'm asking like, does this sound fake? Does it sound womanly? Like, how does it sound? Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. I'll make the first comment of, in my opinion, this is always this is probably the number one hardest thing to answer as a vocal teacher. And I'll let you open, okay? And I'll explain afterwards. Unless you already know why, I'll explain afterwards why I say that. So what would your feedback be to them?
Yeah, I mean, I would not be sure how. Oh,
Yep, sorry, fixed it.
yeah, right. Thank you. I would not be sure how to answer the how does this read part at all, because I feel like vocal gendering is too subjective for me to give like a straight answer. So I guess I would focus on the individual variables.
Mhm.
Okay. They, okay. I think that they definitely had a raised larynx. I did hear that. And honestly, I'm not sure what else to say. Like, I'm not sure what else I really heard. It felt it felt like, I think it felt like they had worked on weight, but it maybe kept creeping back in, and that there were moments where there were moments where they'd be a lot lighter, and then it would just like drop a little more, maybe. And this isn't really like an educated observation or anything, but it sort of, I think the way they were talking kind of reminded me of the way I used to talk when I had a lot of strain from raising my larynx the wrong way. But that's not something I actually like identified by sound specifically, so I'm not as sure of that.
Okie dokie. Let's dig a little deeper on that last point there. Tell me what you mean by that. What is it that you're... What about their larynx stuff do you hear that reminds you of yourself raising your larynx in a strained manner?
Yeah, can we hear just like the first
Yeah,
five-ish
absolutely.
seconds of that clip?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Oh, let me...
hi. So I'm just sort of trying to get like a vibe check on my voice. Like I've been practicing on and off for like a year and sort of like more intensively in like the past 6 months.
Okay. Did you want more, or was that
Okay,
what you're looking for?
no, that was good. I think I'm not really sure how to describe it. I think it's sort of like that kind of like there's kind of a almost croaky quality to it. I would not use that word with them, obviously.
Sure,
There's
sure.
kind of a croaky quality to it, which sort of feels like it kind of feels like they're talking with like a little bit of a little bit of strain as they're like trying to keep everything in place. Like
Hmm.
they kind of like that. I struggle to do that on purpose now, I think.
Okay, okay. I know what you mean by that, and I'll talk about that in a bit. Okie dokie. Yeah, any other comments you wanted to make? There was a specific. Oh, sorry. There was a specific question they were asking of, does this sound fake? How would you approach that question?
I don't. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no worries. Okay,
Like
I will.
what I'm not sure what they would mean by fake, I guess.
Good line of thinking. Keep going. Therefore,
Um, therefore, what is it like? What do they think? I guess.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
do they think it sounds fake?
yeah. So asks about what they mean by fake, and then I'd probably guide them to detail on that, because they're probably not going to know what they mean by sounding fake. There's two key like takeaways when somebody asks a question like that, in my opinion. Either this is a brainworm situation where to them it sounds like something's wrong, but they can't give any specificity on that, which is always a really big sign of brainworms. And like when you ask about individual variables, they can be like, well, I think that's fine, or I think that's fine. Or the other option they'll go to is anything that they know is a gendered quality. They'll just say, yeah, that should probably be further, and that should probably be further, regardless of where it is. And like they could have the smallest voice in the world, and it's like, well, yeah, maybe I should get smaller because they all they've really done is just replaced size with fem instead of actually engaging with size as it is. Boo 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 boo. Yeah. So yeah, in terms of when somebody says fake, I'm either looking for, is it brainworms? And my sort of diagnostic criteria on that is a incapacity to give any level of specificity, or if they are able to give some, like if they say I can hear the thing but I just don't have words for it, then you try to provide them with language and like, well, can you describe it in any possible way? Just what in any way does it sound to you? And from there try to piece together like what do they mean by those words, because like if they don't really have a language for it and like they know already, if they barely are able to describe this, then when you kind of force them to do that, hopefully you get something, but that something might not mean a whole lot and you have to kind of construct it. With experience and like just hearing different people describe things in weird ways, you kind of pick up on like what they're meaning. Kind of think along the lines of like free association. Like if they're saying, oh, it kind of sounds more like an ant. Okay, well, what features does an ant possess? Well, ants are quite small. Maybe they mean size. Or it sounds very if they say it sounds like a bully, well, what does a bully sound like? That's more of a series of actions than it is a sound. But maybe they're thinking more, it could be along the lines of maybe aggressive. And aggressive could mean certain things. Maybe they're meaning loudness. Maybe they're meaning weight. Maybe they're meaning something to do with the articulation of the words. And you kind of build from there to try and zone in on what is the feature they're referring to. And you can help by like just laying out the features that you're hearing. To try and give them some guidance. Obviously, like in theory, it could be something like super specific that is not necessarily a gendered component. In which case, like there's only so many. Like you could infinitely list things in theory. You can chop up voices like infinitely, and so it depends on like that can be a bit of a rabbit hole sometimes. But usually you can get somewhere, especially if they can give you like any level of guidance that suddenly like think of it as like a what's that board game where it's like you've got the faces and the boards and you swap down the ones that are not the face until you've got like you're this person. Whatever that board game is, you get to knock down a bunch of faces as soon as they tell you like any level of description at all. Because that rules out a lot of things that are clearly not that. Guess who? Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Guess who? Yeah, so whenever we have, I guess to move things into my feedback, as soon as I hear a voice like that with a comment, in fact, I'm going to start with the title itself. How does this read? Advice wanted. For reason I clicked. That question is about as vague as is possible. They've given us zero guidance on anything whatsoever. So just immediately from the title, I'm already making estimations. Title alone, we have one of two options. Either options one, they're a brand new starter, and they literally just don't actually know anything about gender affirming voice. And so usually this is going to be like maybe they increase pitch and that's about it, or some random other variable and that's about it, because they don't actually know what they're doing at all. So often when people don't know what they're doing, they will just give something super vague like this because they don't yet have a language to even know what to ask. So that can be a thing. Another potential option. Man, I need way more space for this notepad. If people have ideas of where I should put this notepad that would make sense so the stream isn't too ugly, then make your suggestions. I want to be doing that, and then... Wait, how do I stretch it down this way? Is that how... that's how I do this. Okay. So, and then the second one, which in my opinion is the more likely of the two, is brain worms. And this is just from the title alone. Every single time that somebody has brain worms, they ask a super vague question like this. Like, I've already forgotten. How does this read? Advice wanted. People with brain worms ask, does it sound femme? Or does it sound masc? Or does it sound this thing? Because to go into more specificity, especially when it's what I was saying earlier, they know the size is right. They know the weight is right. They know the individual variables are correct. But when they go to that macro assessment, the brain worms take over and then they're like, I don't know. And they'll probably say like, they'd probably agree that it doesn't sound like their voice at birth. It doesn't sound like their gender as assigned at birth. It just doesn't sound as their actual gender. And oftentimes they'd fail to even be able to gender it because really it is sounding the way they're wanting it to. But like they're not able to accept that. Because like brainworms fucking suck. So that's just from the title. That's like what I'm going into this clip thinking. And then what do we find?
Okay, hi. So I'm just sort of trying to get like a vibe check on my voice. Like,
So then immediately, I'm reading this as entirely female. First impression. First impression literally sounds cis female. I'm not going to tell the student this, but I'm like immediately hearing that.
I don't think the clip is coming through, by the way.
Oh shoot! Sorry. Thank you. I'm going to keep forgetting that. You're okay. If you don't hear a clip, and I've clearly referenced when I'm playing a clip, tell me. And if you hear yourself echoing, tell me, because that's me forgetting to sort the thing out. Okay.
okay, hi. So I'm just sort of trying to get like a vibe check on my voice. Like, I've been practicing on.
So immediately, my first impression hearing that is, okay, this, like, if I didn't know they were trans, I would just assume cis female. Like, just immediate, very clearly, very, very feminine voice. Or like very clearly feminine voice. Not saying like the type of femme, it just is a just ordinary feminine voice. So yeah, that's my first read, which is then reinforcing this idea for me, like, okay, we're in 2. So at that point, I'm then looking for, okay, let's listen to just what they say. Hope maybe they'll give us some more specificity. Maybe they'll give us some more information that then dispels this. Because obviously in these like this is clearly a clip where she's going to be like telling us a lot as well, and therefore like that's going to be part of the information. That's part of the question is in the clip. So we then listen to the clip.
On and off for like a year, and sort of like more intensively in like the past 6 months, trying to sort of find like the right kind
Again, has been practicing for a long time, reinforcing brainworm stuff.
of voice and like how I want to read. A big issue is that like I keep sort of worrying like, oh, this sounds fake. This doesn't sound like conversational enough.
This sounds fake. This sounds conversational enough. Doesn't sound conversational enough. Super non-specific. Like that barely means anything. What does fake mean? What does not conversational enough mean? So like vague descriptions, but don't actually describe anything. Because like what is fake? Like it doesn't mean anything. We could now fake specifically. I will note fake can be sign of fullness issue. So if somebody does say fake, I would say first thing is to check fullness, because a fullness issue will make it just sound fake as a quality, specifically cartoonish fake, because what a lot of voice actors do to make a cartoon character sound cartoony is either leaning over full or over full. Very, very common. If you think of like most cartoon characters won't sound full. SpongeBob is the only thing that comes to mind, but like if we think of most SpongeBob characters, especially like the ones where we have like a dramatized personality point, that personality point is often expressed through a fullness issue. So for example, SpongeBob has like that slight over full thing going on. There's also like twang there, which models that up a bit. But still, that slight over full vibe going on, which is expressing this childishness in him. Patrick has the hollower sound expressing like a lower intelligence, essentially. It's like a dumber voice. If we look into different characters, it's like you're either going to have a tone mod that is like a big thing coming through. Like Squidward has like a whole bunch of twang. Wait, is it twang or is it? I'll be honest, it's been so long. It's either nasality or twang. I don't actually remember what he sounds like. I've only got the laugh. I can't think of him speaking. I can hear him shouting SpongeBob in my head, which I think is sounding twang, but it's been too long. But yeah, so the point is, if we have like fullness is okay, that's a huge long way of saying fullness. Like fakeness can often mean fullness, or at least a lack of fullness would be, or like fullness being in the wrong place would sound fake, I guess. I would say usually fake doesn't mean that, but like fullness would always sound fake, if that makes sense. Whenever it's not full, it sounds fake, but not whenever it's fake, it's not full. That's what I'm saying. In this case, though,
So I've been trying to sort of work on that. I'm just sort of talking at a normal, like, a
clearly no fullness issue. So while that can be a thing you then look at when you hear those words, I ain't hearing that in a voice. And it'd be fullness is one of those things where like if there's a fullness issue, you know, it's so obvious. Because that is the issue. That there is an obvious thing. Fullness is only an issue if it is obvious.
I think this would be a conversation level. Like, I think I could converse with someone pretty well here. I was worried my talking or like pitch sounded sort of like announcements. Like I was like telling people things, but I think this is a pretty good pitch, and I'm feeling a lot more confident and like comfortable with it.
So something I'm noticing here in their like what they're saying, the content of what they're saying, lots of references to pitch, but they're not referring to, although they're just saying pitch, they're not really referring to, like if you listen to what they're saying, they're not really referring to pitch per se. They're more referring to the pattern of pitch. Like they were worried about them sounding like, what was it, they're making announcements or something?
Sort of like announcements. Like I was like telling people things. But
Yeah. So that concern there is a concern of like, is it sounding like this repeating pattern of like, I'm telling you this, and then I'm telling you this, and then I'm telling you this, and I'm just talking like this, and this is the voice that's happening, and the pitch pattern is always like this all the time. That's what she's concerned about there. And even as she's speaking, she's like noticing that I think that's actually not a concern, which is good. And a sign that these brainworms are curable. So yeah, just that's worth noticing. And that also gives us some insight into what did she mean by whether it sounds conversational, and like usually that is going to be a sign of like, is there an issue with pitch pattern or like speech in general, like the patterns of speech, the prosody. So combo of asking about conversational, or whether they sound conversational, plus concern about sounding like an announcer. These are signs to me that we have a it's a question of prosody. Indicates a question of prosody. And if that's a new word to anybody, prosody is literally like prosody means like speech pattern in like all the ways that a speech can be patterned. So we could be talking about the pitch pattern, we could be talking about intonations, we could be talking about accent, all of the different things that are just patterns within somebody's speech, like the totality of that, the whole category is prosody. Yeah. What else do I have to say? Okay, there's more I have to say. I need to go to the toilet. I'll be right back. See you in just a second. And hopefully now that brings my sound back in. And it did turn off before, and now it has come back in. Yeah, perfect. Oh, I'm so glad I've got that working. We now finally have that. There's still... Oh, my screen has just freaking HDMI cable. Let that reload for a sec. Come on, screen. I just have a green screen. Come on, HDMI cable. Don't do this to me while I'm streaming. Come on. Okay, 1 second. Okay, is that working? Yeah, that's working. Slightly loose HDMI cable. It doesn't seem damaged at all. It just seems to slide in and out of a port like super easy, which I'm pretty sure it should not be doing. Okay, that's all good. Okay, cool. Okay, there is much more I want to say about this clip. But before I do, I've just seen the time. How have we been going for like over an hour already? I feel like something is not correct there, but maybe we just have been going for over an hour already. I'm totally down to just continue this lesson for like the entire stream time if we have time. But I want to check in with you, Mara, because we are already like 20 minutes past what would be your normal time. Do you have the time?
Yeah, I don't have anything else scheduled for today, so I'm around.
Yeah, so entirely up to you. We could either finish now, finish off this clip, or just keep going. Whatever you would like to do.
I think I'm going to keep going. I will let you know if I have to.
Oh, sorry, I've just remembered that. Is that? Lol.
All right.
Sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
but,
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
you were saying...
I think I should be good to keep going, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. So you're saying like, yeah, just keep going?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, cool.
This is super helpful, so I am very down to keep going.
Yeah, no, I'm having a great time. And this is like, to me, this is pretty good content. So what I'm going to do, because we have a lot of like dead sound in between stuff while we're like thinking and stuff. So I'm going to put a little bit of background music on, just really quiet. If this distracts you, like say so, because like that means that like it's going to mess with stuff. Like it's only if it's not distracting. In fact, actually, never mind. You're not going to be able to hear it anyway. I guess you'll hear it when I'm playing clips. So to people in Twitch chat, not Twitch, bloody hell, my brain is just not turned on today. You can tell I only got 3 hours sleep. People in YouTube chat, we literally haven't been on Twitch in like 6 months or something. Yes, but in the YouTube chat, if the music combined with us like listening to clips and stuff is like annoying and it's just like a no, then just like say so and I'll just turn it off. I can barely even hear it myself. It's literally just for your benefit. Okay, cool. Let me go back over that clip, remind myself of what I'm listening to. And yeah. Boo, 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 boo.
I think this is a pretty good pitch, and I'm feeling a lot more confident and like comfortable with it than ever. So yeah, I'm asking like, does this sound fake? Does it sound womanly? Like, how does it sound? Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, and then last thing I'm seeing or noticing about what they're saying in terms of content of their message. I know that this is getting very messy, by the way, everybody, in terms of this document. So the last thing I'm noticing is their mention of what was it specifically? They are saying that they feel confident and comfortable with current pitch. A little note I'll make on that is, yes, they're specifying pitch there. However, we can also like expand that out. We can expand that out to all of the voice because they would have specified otherwise. So like, if somebody's telling me that they are very comfortable specified. If somebody's telling me that they are very comfortable with a specific aspect, especially something like pitch, that like is a bit more of a like, it can be more of a catch-all thing, especially as it's being used right now, where they're describing it as part of their pitch pattern and speech pattern, their prosody stuff. Them describing prosody features, especially, as comfortable and like making them feel confident, and confident is a big one there as well. They wouldn't be getting that read, especially the confident. They wouldn't be saying that if there was something else that was making them not feel confident. So I would actually apply words like confident, and then when it's referring to the prosody especially, but even when not applying to the prosody, but especially the prosody, big signs, unless they've specified that there is something that they don't like. The fact that they didn't specify, like, although this, makes me think that there is no although this, and actually this applies to all of it. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm like wording that correctly. But like, yeah, in my mind, if there was an issue, they would have said that there was an issue in that like situation. It would just be very odd for them to not do that. Yeah, is that clear? Yeah, you think you understand it? Yeah, cool. Makes sense. That's some very distracting background music. Okay, I will turn it straight off then. Sorry, I did not realise. Thought you'd prefer that. I was wrong. Thank you for letting me know though. Your network is dropping 10 billion packets, Lamau. Yeah. Last username. I don't think I'm having any issue on my end, so it's probably your end. You're probably having an internet issue. Okay. That is basically everything about the content of their voice. So I'm going to give it one more full listen to. So that I can check for any other things I wanted to comment on their voice itself.
Okay, hi. So I'm just sort of trying to get like a vibe check on my voice. Like, I've been practicing on and off for like a year and sort of like more intensively in like the past 6 months, trying to sort of find like the right kind of voice and like how I want to read. A big issue is that like I keep sort of worrying like, oh, this sounds fake. This doesn't sound like conversational enough. So I've been trying to sort of work on that. I'm just sort of talking at a normal.
Again, when they say, I keep worrying that it sounds fake or that it doesn't sound conversational, they're not saying that it sounds fake or sounds conversational. They're saying they worry that it sounds that. Again, a red flag for brainworms.
Like, I think this would be a conversation level. Like, I think I could converse with someone pretty well here. I was worried my talking or like pitch sounded sort of like announcements. Like I was like telling people things, but I think this is a pretty good pitch and I'm feeling a lot more confident and like comfortable with it than ever. So yeah, I'm asking like, does this sound fake? Does it sound womanly? Like, how does it sound? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so yeah, then giving it a full listen to, I'm basically thinking, so one thing I would further talk on is that they do specify the was concerned about pitch making them sound like an announcer. That's a direct question. That's a direct question. But the question is, does my pitch make it sound like I am an announcer? And what I really mean by that is pitch pattern, because like how could it even make sense as a single pitch? You don't even speak at a single pitch. So really that meaning, does my pitch pattern make them sound like an announcer? And I would just give a simple feedback of no. No. Pitch pattern sounds normal. And pitch pattern sounds normal. And you know what, I'm gonna, again, is this gonna totally mess with things? Because it feels like I'm typing all of this, but you don't get to see any of it from within the Discord, which has to be confusing. But then if I do that, let's just take a moment to make this scene work. Because it won't actually take me that long. Nope, that's not what I want. I want there. I'm looking for that to. Okay. And I'll just have to fix this later. Well, before you go at the end of this, Mara, I'm probably just going to ask you to help me fix where I've just moved your Discord thing on the OBS side to make it all look good so that you guys can then see that. And don't even forget to do that. Okay, so now you guys can see what I'm actually writing within the Discord. So they've specifically asked, like, does their pitch pattern make them sound like an announcer? And I'm going to be saying no, pitch pattern sounds normal. Announcer. So I'm then going to say, like, what would we be expecting there? Announcer, we would. I'm just looking at what you guys can actually see in YouTube's. Announcer, we would expect more repeating, short pattern. So it would be like a single phrase of like pitch movement being repeated over and over again, as they're like making an announcement, then making another announcement, and then making another announcement, and da-da-da-da-da, and that's the thing. And like it'd be, you know, it might vary from that in some degree, but the point is that repeating nature of it, a small little pattern. So important to mention that thing. And then, yeah, I would then just be looking at, so to wrap up, I agree with Mara in terms of the actual, like, what are we hearing? It's very clearly raised larynx, like small size, and lighter weight or open quotient. Standard things there. So I would be putting the question back on them. And whenever I have someone, really I try to do this with everybody, but this is especially a strategy that I use when I suspect brainworms. The big one I'm going with is, what do you think? And I bring it back to them because it's an encouragement to get them to bring some specificity. Because maybe when I say what do they think, they actually like point something specific out. It's like, oh, I can work with this. This is a something. Or another angle I might take is, what is the goal? What are we comparing against? Because if we have something to compare against, then like I can like know what they think, because it's like, does this voice, the question becomes, does this voice sound like this voice? Or like, do the important qualities of this voice or like the significant qualities of this voice sound like the significant qualities of this voice? And we're talking tonal mods and we're talking size and pitch. And usually in that situation, I will like, what is the goal? They give me the goal if they have it. And then I lay out what I'm hearing in the goal, and I just lay that out in as much detail as I can. And then like, first, did they understand what I laid out? And then second, of the features that I'm laying out, what is actually the goal or what is actually just coincidentally in the voice? So we then have like a more specific goal. And then I can compare the two and tell them what I hear and what I don't hear. And ask them what they want to implement from that and explain how. Yeah, I think that would be the totality of where I'm going with that. Suspicion of brainworms. So the big thing is just going to be like the actual feedback I would be giving them is this bit of pitch pattern sounds like that. I would be telling them that first. It's like, since you mentioned it, the concern of the pitch thing and sounding like an announcer, I don't think that's a concern. If it was having that, it would sound like this, and you do not have this, you have this. So that would be the first thing that I would say to them. And then secondly, it would just be a question of, okay, what it would be something like, before I answer, or before I can answer, can I first ask, what are the goals? What am I comparing you against? Because it doesn't load anything. You're not telling them you suspect brainworms. All you're saying is, like, in a professional kind of manner, like, as a teacher, as the person giving you feedback, I just need this extra bit of information before I'm able to give you that feedback. So they don't, like, you're not giving any sort of implication there. So that they, like, don't feel bad about something or whatever. Yeah. Friend in YouTube chat says they're just fishing for compliments on Reddit. Not necessarily. And I think Reddit can be overly cruel when there's the suggestion of, or with the suggestion of, like, oh, whoever's just fishing for compliments, or like something along those lines. I see it a lot in, like, the trans-passing Reddit, where, like, you'll get someone who's very clearly passing, and, like, you would know they're trans unless they said so, asking if they pass, and, like, expressing some concern about that. And it seems very, very common in those situations where the Reddit will kind of just shit on them and be like, oh, stop fishing for compliments, or stop doing this. It's like, we're dealing with the trans community here, guys. Like, brainworms literally call it brainworms. We have a name for this. So, like, assume brainworms before assuming malice would always be my go-to on that. Yeah. Is there anything I'm wanting to add to that? I think that's it. That's where I'd be going. And we'd have a conversation about, like, goals and stuff like that. Last note I would add is, in something like this, I can almost predict what the answer is going to be when I ask about goals with this person. There's a chance they give us goals. There's a chance that they can be like, oh, like, kind of like this person here in this YouTube video or whatever. Amazing. But what very, very commonly happens in this situation is the goal is just femme. And that's it. That's all they give you. Just femme. Which kind of screws you. Because, like, it's just a... I mean, I've spoke about this earlier today. I speak about this pretty much every time I stream. Femme is a shit goal. There is no such thing as the femme voice. You need to know what kind of femme voice. So I then, like, would explain that to them of, like, okay, we need a more fleshed out, or, like, I would give that, if it was someone who was more of a beginner, I would suggest to them to start working on a more fleshed out goal, so that, like, in time, like, when they come to the later stages, they have that to help them. If it's somebody more in this area, I would be more pressing that importance of, like, a goal would be a really good thing for you, in my opinion. And maybe in that situation, I would disclose that I'm suspecting some brainworms, and that the reasoning, my suspected reasoning for the brainworms occurring is the lack of a goal. Because so far, I don't think I've come across somebody that had the brainworms that didn't have a clear goal. No, they didn't have a clear goal and therefore had brainworms. That happens every time. Like, every single time, I think so far, every single time I've had somebody that doesn't have a clear goal, they either are new, and so, like, fair play, they've just started this, of course they don't have goals yet, or they have brainworms. I don't think I've had someone that didn't fall into those two categories, that didn't have clear goals in mind. Yeah, which is why goals are important. Oh, you use brainworms differently in the States? Oh, maybe I'm just using it different to how everybody else uses it. When I say brainworms, I'm meaning, like dysphoria, meaning, or just, like, it doesn't even necessarily have to be dysphoria, but, like, a lack of ability to, like, engage with the reality of the thing we're talking about. So brainworms in terms of voice would be like, it sounds like this, but I'm not able to hear it like this. So for a great example, everything I've just been describing is actually a trap I fell into. I didn't have specific goals. I never had anything like that. I have something that I can concretely compare my voice to. And I've got terrible brainworms about my voice. Like, I do not hear this as feminine at all. I've just had enough people tell me that it's feminine that I've just decided that I am a bad judge of my own voice, and I will just, like, outsource that opinion. So if everybody else is saying it sounds fine, then fuck it, it sounds fine. But yeah, that's what I mean by brainworms. Yeah. Okay, that's like a whole bunch that I've just gone over there. Did you have any questions about that, Mara? That would kind of be what my process, like that's me describing the kind of whole process that I go through when I'm like giving feedback to somebody.
Yeah, no, I think I followed that. And yeah, that is very helpful. It's very helpful to see like your whole, because I think I just like jumped
Sure.
straight to the like core components of the voice and then didn't really more about it. So yeah, that is
Yeah, and like that's
very
fine
helpful.
too. I'm just realizing how horribly I typed out the word weather. Yeah, I mean like that's fine too. Like it's still a useful thing to tell somebody, like, okay, these are the vocal qualities I'm hearing. And sometimes I will follow that route. But it's when I'm having the brainworm situation, that like it's a question of what would be most helpful to a person. Is it most helpful to tell them, and you kind of just have to do it based off vibes and an in the moment decision, like it's a case by case basis. But you just have to make the decision of, is it most helpful to just give them this sort of raw data of, well, I'm hearing a raised larynx, I'm hearing a lighter weight. The croaky thing I was going to mention, because I wanted to describe what it is you're hearing there. Yeah, you just have to do it a case by case basis of like, okay, do we think the raw information would be more useful, or do you think it would be worth us digging into brainworm stuff? All of those sorts of things. I think the goal thing though is pretty much something you can always ask to anybody, because it's never not useful. Like it always makes things like just so much easier. Because like even saying like hearing a raised larynx doesn't tell people a lot, because it's kind of a binary of like raised or not raised, and like that is the same wording I would use, like hearing a raised larynx or a small size or something like that. Because like you can't really give it like a percentage or something, like there isn't a metric we can use, and so you do just have to give like something like this, but like at the same time, like it's just not super useful a lot of the time, because it is like a bit vaguer. It is a bit too binary is not the word, but like not precise enough, I guess. Like necessary, like it can't be precise enough. And yeah, as I said, it's a case by case basis. Because like I want to be clear that I will also give this kind of feedback sometimes, and have done. Okay, the slight croakiness you're hearing, I wanted to go over that real quick so that I can show you what you are hearing.
Okay, hi. So I'm just sort of trying to get like a vibe check on my voice. Like I've been practicing on and off for like a year.
So the first thing to mention is you would need more, like you would need to hear them across time to get a read on exactly what's happening here. If we're being super like objective, or if we're being super like just stating what we hear without further analysis.
Okay, hi. So I'm just sort of trying to get like a vibe check on my voice. Like I've been practicing on and off for like a
It's a sort of, it's like a tiny bit of fry, essentially, is what's happening.
Okay, hi. So I'm just sort of
Like subtle enough that we're not getting the popping of fry, because it's only at an onset or an offset. So we only have it for we have it for so little that we don't actually get to hear the pops. We just hear the build up of a pop, and then the speech stops, or like shifts in a significant way such that doesn't happen anymore. That's not a great way of describing it, but do you get what I mean when I say that?
Okay, hi.
Oh, I've just been played it over and
Yes.
over and over again, and you haven't
I
heard
think
any of it. I'll replay that bit so you can listen to what I'm saying.
Okay, hi. So I'm just sort of trying.
So like that, where you like just if you listen closely, you do hear some pops, but like it's so brief. Um, yeah, that's what I think you're hearing. Yeah, you think you hear it? Okay, okay. So then it's a matter of like, why is this happening? Um, it's a sign of um, it's a sign of like less adduction, like slightly, like you're getting to full closure, but within that, because it is a thing that's happening like at almost every time where we would expect a bunch of closure to come in, um, like that onset or offset. Um, yeah, it's the closure like kind of phasing in or like struggling to get there until it then gets there, which is why it like stops, and becomes like a complete voice again. Um, Unless obviously the sound is just stopping entirely. So it's a closure thing, and you just need to know like, is this like, there's a whole bunch of reasons this could be happening. Morning voice can have this happen, because you have just all of that extra mucus there, making it a bit harder for things to move around. So like closures and stuff like that become just a bit sloppier. Um, it could be just a feature of their voice and just something they do, and that's totally fine. It could be a sign that they are getting a bit tired, just literally they're just a bit sleepy. Maybe it's late in the day for them. You sometimes hear this sort of thing in my voice during the later workshops. Yeah, like this sort of the regular like bits of fry coming in at all those moments. And again, because it, like you're more tired, so things are a little bit like the closure's a bit harder to attain. The open, yeah, all of that's a bit harder to attain, and so you kind of have this like a bridging of fry as it's getting to that closure. What else would I be thinking? Or it can be a sign of like you doing something that is either like it could be a sign of you doing something problematic, either that being something that causes some slight discomfort, and so like the subject ends up avoiding complete closure because, or like easing themselves into it because there's some slight discomfort along the way, or it could be like they're doing something that's very fatiguing, and so like it's just hard to get that closure because they're having to put so much effort in to do it, or issues of like really high airflow, and there's like it's struggling to get the closure because there's all that air to push against, like the air pressure, the subglottal pressure is really high. It could be any of those. Oh, it could be dehydration, because again things can't move as much during dehydration. Any of those sorts of things could be the cause of it. But like, so it's a sort of like, to the information that we have, it's just there. We don't have enough information to say whether it's a problem or not a problem. I would lean on they haven't specified an issue of it, so there's probably not an issue of it, because they'd probably be assuming that they know that like discomfort and stuff is something that's a problem. Then like they'd let us know if there was an issue. That would be where I'm usually leaning. You can just say what you're saying out loud if you want to, Mara. It's up to you. I get why you're typing, but also you can just say it if you want to.
Yeah, I thought the thing would still be running.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, I was saying,
You'll know if it is.
I think that makes sense. Yeah, I think that I
Mhm.
jumped straight to the probably strain or discomfort thing,
Mhm.
not really considering any other cause for it. But that does make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so just fries are one of those things where I can see why you would jump straight to like there being a problem, or it being symptomatic of something, because there just is a myth in the voice world that fry is bad and damaging. I still to this day don't know where that came from, but it's a myth that is pervasive. Although I think for the most part, people are moving on from that now, but it certainly was a thing. And I do still come across it sometimes. And two, like, yeah, like it can be an issue. And like oftentimes when there is issue, it's quite normal for fry to be like a symptom of it. The bigger one would be like if you're hearing rasp, that would be a big giveaway as well. Like if we're hearing rasp, then I would be more like the odds of it being a problem are now a bit higher just because of like our given options. And so I'd be asking like, I would just be checking in with it. Whereas fry I wouldn't be necessarily because it could be all sorts of things. Yeah. All right. Any questions you had about any of this clip, or any of my process, or anything at all?
No, I think I was.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's everything that I wanted to comment on. I'm just seeing if there's any of your comments that I wanted to comment on. Yeah, I think that's, yeah, that all sounds good to me. So yeah, my approach to it would be like answering the question that is essentially a question that they asked, and then probing for more info. I don't know why I'm highlighting that one. Yeah, that's for asking about what they did ask. And then yeah, probing for more info, but with like a high suspicion of brainworms. In rare occasion, I will tell people that they sound femme, but that's in rare occasion where I think it necessary. That's only like a last straw sort of thing. RFK had brainworms? RFK, who's RFK? Oh, Lamau. True. I completely forgot about that as a thing. Okay, all right. Let's move to another one. This is why I clicked on that specific one though, because I entirely expected this to be the entire, like this is just from the title, this was the entirety of what I was expecting. It's like, they've delivered perfectly. So whenever you see a title like that, immediately your brain wants to go to these things. His voice is a thing. Yeah. Okie dokie. Let's pick another one. Which one do I want to go for? When we're doing this, I guess YouTube people, you can make the decision. Would you prefer the current layout that we have, or should I switch things over to would you prefer I switch things over to here so you can see the Reddit screen? Oh, that is OBS, Lamau. Would you prefer this? In which case, like it means you don't get to see Mara, but you get to see this. So, let me know what you prefer there. Also means I gotta move all my stuff out of the way. Yeah. And my monitor's trying to turn itself off. Yes, yeah, it's either this one, but you don't get to see Mara's profile picture, or the other one where you do, and you get to like have a flashing of when Mara is speaking. Let you guys decide while I pick the next one. Again, similar things here. Not necessarily going to go for this one because like I'm expecting it to be a similar feedback, but I mean we could check it. But like it's the same issue of like hello y'all, could anyone tell me what to do to have more feminine voice? I feel like I'm trying so much but nothing coming out of it. So either we have like that option 1 or option 2, if they're either a brand new starter or brainworms. We can even listen to like the first few seconds to like.
Of course, I'm doing something differently. One goddamn.
Okay, brand new starter. We have the. So instead of it being pitch, that's probably a raised pitch here, but we also have all of these oral changes that are coming into it, which they're unsure of. You see enough Reddit already. You want to see the Reddit. You don't care. You mostly just listen. Can we say overly self-critical instead of brainworms? Yeah, sure, I suppose. If people don't like the term brainworms. But I'm going to have to work hard to keep that not what I say, because that is my go-to term there. Okay, it seems like the vote is for the Reddit, so we'll stick with this being our screen. Okay, being as this one is a different thing, then we will go into this one. So get everything ready. Oh, and let's not raise attention to it until I have done it. No, that's not what I wanted. Sorry. I'm wanting this. I'm just wanting to do a little bit of that. Yeah, don't worry about while I'm doing that. Don't even worry about it. I may as well do that as well for some added security. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay. And I will revert that later. Boo. Stream title is pretty accurate. Hells yeah, it's pretty accurate. Okay, right. I'm going to play this one, and we will start off with Mara's feedback. So I will remove these. I suppose it's probably most helpful for Mara now or everybody in the thingy, if I just do that as my camera. So now you can see things as well. Which means I do not have to be... Oh, I'll still share screen in case it's useful for you. Okay, sorry. What the fuck was that sound? That's my freaking light thing there. I don't know what it's telling me. Okay. Boo. This is the title of it. Super long title. Okay, lovely. Hopefully that's legible on screen in terms of a notepad. Tell me if you guys actually can't see that very well, and I don't think you can increase the size of text in a notepad, but I'm sure you can give me some advice on what you'd prefer. Okay, all right, let's have a listen. And Mara, you can go first on your feedback.
Oh gosh, of course I'm doing.
Sorry, I'm forgetting again, but I need to... Okay.
Oh gosh, of course I'm doing something differently one goddamn time. I swear to God. And everything is goddamn breaking. I don't know why. Like, oh my gosh. I don't know why. Hello, Cooper. She might jump on me soon, to be honest. I swear it never happened to me yet, like anything bad. Hello, Cooper. She's on my armrest. Oh my god. Oh my god. She's so stupid. Oh my god. She hops on the armrest, and then I touch her slightly, like to start petting her, and she collapses. Like, oh my god, bro. Why? Why are you doing that? I genuinely don't know. She's laying on me right now, though. Like, bro, acting like she wants to jump away and stuff, but then enjoy being petted. I just can't with this Goober, like, genuinely, oh my gosh. Oh gosh. Oh god.
Okay, what are we thinking?
Okay. Huh. I think I might have to hear that again, because pretty much all I got from that was, at first was like, that I thought they were maybe over relying on pitch, but then I realized they were talking to their cat, I'm assuming, so I'm guessing that that was also just that they were, emoting or whatever.
Possibly, yeah. Possibly.
Yeah, I think I might have to hear that at least like 20-ish seconds again, please.
Oh gosh, of course, I'm doing something differently one goddamn time. I swear to God. And everything is goddamn breaking. I don't know why. Like, oh my gosh.
I don't think that's coming through.
I don't know why. Hello, Cooper.
Definitely what?
I don't think that's coming through.
Oh, shoot, yeah, sorry.
She might jump on me soon. Oh gosh, of course, I'm doing something differently one goddamn time. I swear to God. And everything is goddamn breaking. I don't know why. Like, oh my gosh. I don't know why. Hello, Cooper. She might jump on me soon, to be honest. I swear it never happened to me yet, like anything bad. Hello, Cooper. She's on my armrest. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Okay, what are we thinking?
Okay, so I think I heard a larger size, but I think that I'm hearing that it's like more of an oral thing.
A bit what, sorry?
More of like an oral size, like large oral size, like they're tending towards very large embouchure. I can't tell the larynx. I think it is raised, but I'm struggling to hear the. I was trying to listen out for imbalance or like the listing you were mentioning with the first clip. But I'm kind of struggling to hear that very clearly.
What weight are you hearing?
Yeah, and yeah,
Or
wait,
quotient?
I think again, I feel like it's overfull, but I'm not sure if that is a conflation I'm having with something else, with like some kind of fry, like it was in the last one.
Some kind of what, sorry?
Some kind of fry, like it was in the last one.
Oh, I see.
It doesn't sound like fry to my ear, but yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Okay, so if you're unsure if it is some kind of tonal mod, what other tonal mods sound similar to overfull?
It could be twang, but I'm hearing maybe.
I'll replay it for a moment.
Yeah, you will be helpful.
Oh gosh, of course, I'm doing something differently one goddamn time. I swear to God. And everything is goddamn breaking. I don't know why. Like, oh my gosh. I don't know why. Hello, Cooper.
Okay.
Yeah, I could see that being like some kind of twang or like nasality thing. Sorry, I feel very unsure about the.
Yeah. I'll put a little that to indicate insuredness. That's okay. Anything else? Any like things other than this quality?
Yeah, the accent is did I think take a second to adjust to, but I think it's Huh. Well, actually, I guess that is something I could we mention that it does feel very like. Well, okay. Again, this is kind of like the thing I was saying before, like with the last clip with Strain, is kind of in this region of I'm kind of just inferring. But it kind of feels again like she's trying to put on like that, like to mimic those West Coast American kind of speech patterns a little, and that's like not her natural accent, so there's sort of a mismatch there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm hearing thinking of anything else to mention.
Yeah, no worries. Are there any like what would we be saying to them if you were going to try and give them the feedback?
Right, that is a good point. Um, hmm. Okay, so they're asking to have a more feminine voice. They're trying so much, nothing is coming out of it. Um, okay. I imagine it would probably be useful to get more information from of
Yeah.
like I guess maybe how long have they been working on it, like what have they been doing, like what have they worked on? Um, and like generally getting an idea of like where their knowledge and focus has been. Um, yeah, I'm not sure if I would want to ask about gold or anything like that because I imagine that would probably come later when they're like trying for a more complete force right now. Like they
What was it you
have
said that you're
points.
unsure if you would ask about? I missed that one word.
Um, about the goal,
Ah,
like what goal they have in mind.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think I would probably just want to start by asking. I guess maybe they might have said it already in comments, or if it's something like that, but
Say
or
that
we
again.
went through the entire clip at first too.
I
Um,
missed that sentence there.
yeah, I'm saying, I think I would probably want to start asking more about their, yeah, like their current, sorry, words.
No, you're okay. Take your time. I'm gonna allocate some more space to this. We'll do it like this. Boom, boom.
Yeah, I think I would start by asking for more information, most likely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna take a second to sort of play with this.